Yes. So, did you see what I put on the doc?
I did. Did you see what I added?
I did. I haven't looked at it yet, though.
Did you put, yeah, it's not much. I mean, it's nothing new.
No. I put, um, I, can you guys hear my wife in the background?
No?
Nope.
Good. Um, what was I going to say? Oh, I put Jeff Bruno's Saugus page in there.
Is there a Twitter feed?
No, there's not a Twitter feed, but just thinking if our topic today is on mechanisms for sharing resources and best practices and stuff like that, his kind of does that.
Yeah.
I don't know whose responsibility it is to do that, but
I like it. So it's the curriculum and instruction page. So it would be the curriculum and instruction, posting.
right. Hey, Jim.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, you?
Good, good. I seem to have joined mid-conversation.
We were looking at the Google Doc and looking at the Saugus curriculum and instruction page.
Yeah, we'll see. Where is that?
It's a Google site, by the way.
It's a Google site, right?
Yeah.
Go past your test.
Yeah, we passed.
Yep, we passed.
Thank goodness.
Oh, is that Becca Schuhweiler I see?
Yes.
Woo!
I promised Dan I would finally make one.
Nice.
And Sean told wrote and said he was in. He was going to be in. Where's Mardi Gras?
No, New Orleans?
Yeah, yeah, for the NCTM, I think. And Gene Kasinkas said he'd watch it later. He wasn't going to be home.
Sean was at that conference I was at on Friday.
Oh yeah, I think he left right after that because I think Friday night he was at the airport going to New Orleans. I'm losing my voice.
Where'd you go on Friday, Dan?
I went to, it's called Atomim, and it's a math conference that they have every year. It's in Augusta, and Patty was there with me. Patty was doing her thing.
Good devil.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. It was really fun. I saw some people I hadn't seen in a while. You know how that goes sometimes. Can everybody hear each other okay? Patty, can you hear us?
I can hear you, but it says my microphone isn't working.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We were just looking at the Google Doc. Does everybody know how to get to it?
What's the call?
It's right off the. It's right off the page. It's one of the Hangout notes.
Got it.
Needed today. But yeah, we were just looking at that, and our topic is mechanisms for sharing resources, and one of the things that I was thinking about for today was somehow developing a Twitter feed that we could do for our district. And what made me think of it was the first link there for SAD 75. They've got one, but it's one guy or it's one account that people are tweeting from.
A group Twitter?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a thought. But
So the idea of that is to share informational links. What are they using the Twitter for there?
well, check it out. It's not so much as like what's the lunch special. It's more professional development.
Uh-huh.
that kind of stuff.
Like the one that I'm reading, one of the tweets I'm reading right now, just it's the first one. It says, upgrading PD requires 3 new literacies. Everybody see that? Digital, media, global, plus differentiated options for staff self-navigation. I like that. And it was retweeted. So she tweeted on her own. So that means that they have the feed under the hashtag of, I think, R75 teaching and learning, but it's not, it's, you know.
Yeah, but she didn't tag that. They retweeted her. So.
Oh, they retweeted her. That's right. That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what the point of one is, why you couldn't have like a feed that showed anything with that hashtag instead of doing it under one account only. I guess that protects that page from being abused, maybe.
Well, that would be, I guess, a question for Nate. Would that be a worry that if we did it with a hashtag that, you know, people could post, anybody could post, and it would be on a district website?
Yeah, somebody would have to say, I will happily take responsible for that and keep an eye on it.
Oh, and so that somebody would be then deleting.
Inappropriate stuff.
Oh. Well, that's not bad.
But now I'm looking at this, I think that it really might be one person.
Yeah, it could be. I just don't think that's kind of lame. I think it would be great if we could somehow all pool, do it together.
Yeah.
Well, you can set up group accounts on Twitter. You know, where you could have, 100 people posting to the same Falmouth High School Twitter account.
Do you just sort of can you sign into Twitter with more than one account kind of thing, or is it you're signing in, signing out?
No, I was dabbling it a little bit last week. I think I'd sent you a message about it, but like Twitter only allows one email for every account. But somehow with the group tweet thing, even though your own individual account, you can still post to a group account. And it comes up, I believe, as the feed of that account.
Yeah, I'm reading how to create groups for Twitter on Mashable right now. That would be good.
Could you add that to the notes, that link?
Yep, I'll do that right now.
I mean, that's just one idea. I'm not sure. I like Jeff Bruno's page that he's got, and if you haven't seen it, you should check it out. And you should check out his latest blog post as well. Nate, have you seen that?
Yes. Yeah, you sent it to me. I did see that.
Yes, I sent it to you.
So on Jeff's page, if you go to the Saugus curriculum and instruction page,
Yeah.
math, technology, and education,
Yeah.
you see what they're doing with Khan Academy?
Math
Not
tech.
yet?
No. They've challenged their fifth graders to spend a lot of time on Khan Academy.
Really?
Yep.
Huh.
I'm not seeing.
Where are you looking, Nate?
It loads a little bit late, but it's just, there's a video and then there's this 5th grade challenge below that.
Oh, I see it.
Right, it's from June of last year, but I'm interested that they're using Khan Academy.
We have some teachers use it because it's one of the apps on the iPads, but and there are some teachers that use it, but most math teachers, maybe Patty, you can talk to this, aren't comfortable with it for some reason.
I use it when it's a short topic. For example, after my most recent test, students that finished early could watch right triangle trigonometry. So just to get the definitions down. I think it's more effective when it's a teacher-made video, personally, because students connect to their own teacher. I don't know how well they connect to Khan Academy. I don't have enough experience really to say, but no, it's not being used at the high school very much.
Yeah, no, not at the elementary school. And I know Sean Toll at the middle school doesn't like it, and usually what he doesn't like, the other ones are. I don't know of anybody using it at the middle school.
I don't either.
Now, on the Saugus one, are they using them in class or out of class?
Can you tell me?
It's not completely clear on the letter. And they're tracking. They're actually tracking points. So they've got all of their kids in earning points in Khan Academy. And I guess I'm not interested in the specifics of the fact they're using Khan Academy more than I am that, like, they're using that online tool.
I know that the math side of Khan Academy, there's a actual
Monday morning hangout,
there's
and
there's sort of a system, a classroom management system that's involved with math only.
Yeah, you can sign up as a teacher and like create a class and things like that.
Yeah.
In elementary school, I just remembered they use something called Learn Zillion. But they don't obviously it's elementary school, so they don't say, go home and, well, they could, I guess, but it's mostly third grade teachers that are using it for math. And what they do is they show the videos. But they don't assign, with Learn Zillion, you can assign them for students to watch on their own. And they even have questions that you can assign that go with them, but they're not using it like that. But it's third grade, so, I imagine they're not comfortable doing that. And then they do use Dreambox Math. They do that at home. And I mean, they track it. And that's an amazing program.
I think we do have some students who use Khan Academy. Individual students.
Thought about putting her in my lap.
Because they told me that they use Khan Academy, but I don't know of any teachers who are happy or are using it.
Somebody's giving us some feedback.
Yeah. And the thing about, it's not, another thing that I know the fifth grade teachers really wanted to, they absolutely love it. They use it at Yarmouth at the elementary school. It's called SumDog. It's a game-based learning environment. It's really cool, and they have teachers can track how the kids do, and it's all based on games, and it's really cool. But first you needed a laptop, then they got a couple of apps on the iPad, and now they're going paid. So they were completely free, and now a lot of it's paid. But they have like challenges where you can sign up against other schools in Maine. And so last year, a lot of the fifth grade teachers were signing it as homework, and the kids were doing the challenges at home, and they could see how they were doing you play against other students, so it's really cool.
Did kids like it?
What's that?
Did kids like it, and did they learn anything from it?
The kids liked it. They loved it. Put the link in the chat. I mean, they absolutely loved it. And unfortunately, I don't know how it works anymore on the on the computer, but on the see, it says free some. They've started to go with a paid. When you really get into it after a little bit, it winds up being.
Nate, does it mention, are they using, any chance they're using a flipped classroom model and that's why they're using it? Does it say anything about that?
They don't, so it's possible they are.
Yeah.
They were doing something with Google Docs. Was that to keep track?
I'm having some awful audio. Is anybody else?
I hear a lot of like scritchy, scratchy noise.
Yeah.
Scritchy scratchies. So, what do you guys think about the idea of a Twitter sort of or using Twitter, as a group to share resources somehow publicly on our homepage or somewhere? How could we get that done?
Well, I mean, it seems like a hashtag that only got used for that would be the easiest way, right? And then there's some way to just show that feed. But I think the point is, how do you protect that? I mean, other than only a few people knowing that hashtag.
Right. I mean, I would be happy to be the guy monitoring that.
You're worried about somebody else on the outside who doesn't even. You're like, if I went onto the MSCD 75 Twitter feed right now and wrote to them and put something obscene. You're worrying about
Yeah,
that.
presumably someone's monitoring that, but I mean, yeah, I guess that's a possibility, or writing something that you wouldn't want on that page. But the hashtag being specific enough would probably, if other teachers are seeing that, or community members are seeing that, presumably it wouldn't be abused.
Well, Dan, you sound like you're talking about setting up a Twitter account that's school specific.
Well, I don't. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. I would like some way for us to be able to, share stuff. And my solution here is a district Twitter feed. So, I don't know if anybody else has another idea. That would be cool.
Well, that book that I mentioned to you that I'm reading right now.
Yeah, tell us about
it. He has everything. It's a principal at a high school in New Jersey, and he's talking about digital.
Put that dude's name over here so people can look at him and whatnot.
Eric Scheniger. It's New Milford High School. But he's got a Google Plus feed, a Facebook feed, and a Twitter feed that he updates on a daily basis, and that parents get text messages through those various sites to let them know. And he uses it for almost like Greg Palmer uses principal notes. He feeds, and students as well, feeds them the information through those channels.
Is he the only one that contributes?
I don't know.
Because I know Yarmouth has like the Twitter sports feed. So if you're sitting at home and too cold to go to the hockey game, but you want to know the score, you can go on the Twitter Yarmouth Clippers, and it updates all the scores. And I'm not sure who feeds it. It has to be multiple people because the scores are coming in from all the different events.
Well, I think
I follow that one.
So that's via hashtag then, isn't it?
No, I don't think so. What do you think, Patty?
I just follow it. I don't know who.
You know what the Twitter account thing is? What can I look up?
Let me get into mine.
If you follow it, doesn't it have to be a
not a hashtag?
Not a hashtag. If you can follow it, it can't be a hashtag.
Right. You can search by hashtag, but you can't.
It's
Mark, will you put up a link about Eric?
It's Yarmouth Athletics at YHS Clippers.
Okay, YHS Clippers.
It says Susan Robbins, the AD, is the one who. It's by her, but I don't know if she's the only one that posts.
Dan, when you say public, are you thinking something that people outside of the high school can view? Parents as well?
Well, I just meant on the website. I just think it would be nice to have it be there,
Tech specific?
So one of the things that we've had ongoing discussions about is whether or not we need an intranet, a staff-only internet.
Yeah.
So I don't have a plan for that, but I should just say that we've talked about it a lot.
Is it
Is that hard to
is
do?
that-
Yeah.
yeah, right.
Kind of what we've been doing is there's been a fair amount of call to redo the website, and we've kind of been saying, we're going to wait till there's a new soup, and then we'll take a look at it.
Gotcha. So, Mark, can you put into the class document a link about Eric Scheniger
All right.
and maybe that book?
Where is the document? I don't have it up.
If you go to when you're on the website, or
Yeah.
if you just Hangout notes and then April 6th.
I'm on the Falmouth High School website.
No. The how did you get to the Hangout?
Here, I'm just putting it in the chat, the link to the doc.
Through your email.
So if you open the chat
Oh yeah, go to the chat.
on the left side, you open the chat, it'll open a thing on the right, and I just put the link to that document in there.
There you go.
I was just checking out the Yarmouth YHS Clippers, and it's not a hashtag, and it looks like it says all the latest information regarding athletics at Yarmouth High School, Yarmouth, Maine, by Athletic Director Susan Robbins. So it sounds like she's the one that does it.
Right, but anybody could write a score and then say at YHS Clippers, and it would likely be retweeted by her, right, or
That's
show
what
up in
I'm
a
thinking.
feed by that.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that
Yeah,
what happened?
Yep, that's what I was thinking. That she's got people all over the place, and then she retweets it.
Yeah, and I don't think you even have to if it just says somewhere in the body of the tweet at YHS Clippers.
Right. See, that's the problem where the privacy thing comes in. If we're, at whatever, at Falmouth Teaching and Learning, and somebody just tweets something and says and puts at Falmouth Teaching and Learning, it would show up in the feed.
Right.
But generally, you're just thinking would be a way to share possible professional development, links, articles of interest.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to keep it to that. Yeah, things that you've read that you think others might, find helpful or interesting.
I like that a lot. I feel like I find things and I might send them to one or two people, but I like the general idea a lot.
Say that again, Becca.
What?
What did you just say?
I said I like the general idea of the Twitter feed a lot.
I do as well.
One thing I find I do is send stuff to specific teachers who I know are teaching something that would use it. And I think that, to me, as a librarian, sending out and say, knowing that a teacher is teaching something on medieval, I look for specific things that are going to be useful to specific people. Target them. And the reason that works well for me is that I'm sending them the information when they need it, not just generally, filling the airwaves with information. And I think that we have to be careful that we don't just throw a lot of stuff out there and hope that somebody's paying attention, but that if we know curriculum or whatever is going on, that we could maybe target things that would be useful.
I think it's got to be one of those things where it's got to be modeled. Like people aren't. You're not just going to. In the beginning, you probably are going to throw it out, and there might only be 10 or 15 people. But I think district-wide, once people start learning there's a great resource out there, whether it's Google+, Twitter, Facebook, and great things are going out there from a group of people who are interested in technology, I think that's when it will grow. I think it's got to be a grassroots thing. It can't be top-down.
Yes, I agree. That's a good point because it's, people want to read it, they'll read it, and as soon as people find out, it just has to, hopefully build momentum. And if there's good information, people will read it, and if there's not, they won't. It'll fail, but
Well, it's interesting. We get a lot of things shared by email at the high school, at least, where people send out an article, of interest to folks that can go, that sometimes do go all high school staff. So that's the kind of thing that'd be interesting to see if people would use Twitter that way for that link instead of just an email that I click on or not.
I think too, outside of what we could do for staff, I think it has a lot of power for students. How many times have anybody asked their students if they've checked their email that day? And the answer is no. But if you've asked them to check their text messages, their Twitter account, or their Facebook account, it's probably like 15 times.
Their Instagram account.
Yeah, but if you want to reach students where they're at, email's not it.
Yeah.
It is for us, but it's not for them. And I think that's something that if we can model that from the teacher perspective, where we're starting to interact where kids are, I think we're going to have a better success rate of getting through to them in different places.
Well, so I guess we're in agreement that this is a good way to do it, but I'm just not sure. I'm still not sure how it gets done. Where we can all do it.
All
together.
contribute.
But I mean, setting up something on the web page for anyone to see wouldn't be. I mean, I don't know how you do that, like where you see the Twitter feed of that school we were looking at before. But I mean, wouldn't it be as simple as just agreeing on or to start with agreeing on a hashtag?
Hashtag, yeah. I mean, that would seem very easy.
Setting up a different account might just be more than is necessary. Because if folks aren't on Twitter, then neither is going to matter.
Right.
Right.
That is correct.
I mean, but if they see something on the web page with the link, then they might go, oh, I wonder how I could,
That's sort of what I'm after, is to kind of model it for those who aren't into it.
Right.
Or don't know,
I think the hashtag piece comes back, if you wanted to, that's where, going back to what was shared from Kathy, one of the very first meetings we had was the Twubs or the Storify. If you want to specifically follow a hashtag and find out what's going on with that hashtag, I mean, you could develop whatever the hashtag is, whether it's FHS Tech or, whatever it may be, and then set up a Storify for it. And then you could follow specifically what's going on with that hashtag.
The other thing, I'm pretty sure on a Google site, even is one of the gadgets is probably a Twitter feed. I'm just taking a guess.
I mean, the mechanics of embedding a Twitter feed into a website are easy.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That wouldn't be hard. And yeah, there is a Twitter widget. I just looked. But yeah, and they're actually embedding it on anything. Yeah.
And just for the record, someone has FHS Tech as a, and we wouldn't want FHS necessarily, right? So,
No.
But that does lead you to a different school altogether.
We'll forget it then.
But for a hashtag, you could come up with something that's fairly easy to come up with something unique identifier that way, I think.
Yeah, I think there would be. I guess what I'm thinking is that there'd be something powerful about, those of us who are using this, all of us being able to say, hey, we think this is good, and then have it be right next to somebody, each other's piece that we think is good. And I think, what will happen, hopefully, is that we'll do what Peggy says, to be more specific with stuff when we can. But I think it's also good to just sort of have everybody be able to, point out what we think is important, and then to do it kind of organically like that. I'm hoping that would be a good, powerful thing. Just to have there. So how shall we? That is the question.
Let's get Greg Palmer to do it. In high school. Every principal.
Schenniger has like 15,000 followers or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many?
He also lives in New Jersey.
Yeah.
That's true.
Bergen County, like the armpit of New Jersey.
Well, there's 15,000 people
not
on
the
your block.
Yeah, it's not the armpit of New Jersey. I have friends who taught there, and they made more money than we do.
You know, it would be great if the principals would. Wouldn't it be great if the principals would do it instead of principal notes? I mean, that would be great, something like that. But I mean, you can't really count on that. The other thing that it looks like they did in what they do at SAD 75 and they do at Saugus, it's somebody's sort of their job. It's part of what they do. And I'm sure nobody told them to do it. I think they just wanted to do it. So I think that's the other piece of it, is that if you don't want, you can't ask people to do something if they really have no interest.
Or if it becomes one more thing they're supposed to do.
Right.
Exactly. But if we just had a hashtag, well, I don't know. All the schools that I've seen that have Twitter feeds, it's one person, and they're retweeting other feeds, but it's one, or maybe it's one account. I don't know.
That, just because it's one at whatever doesn't mean that it's one person. You could have 150 people writing to one account.
Right, but when you look on like SAD 75, it looks like it's the same person.
How do you determine that?
Because it's a picture of a guy. I don't know. I see the same picture over and over again. Because if I'm tweeting from my account, oh, you're saying have a separate account.
That it would be at FoundTech or something, you mean?
Oh, not just you. Oh, I see. Not just having people mention the at, but actually have an account.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you could have let's just say if that Falmouth, you could put Falmouth High School because it's too long for Twitter, but whatever the address was, right? You could set that up as the address, but then have X number of contributors to that address as a group Twitter account.
Mm-hmm.
Well, from what I was just reading about group Twitter accounts, it's not, they don't really exist, that you have to have a, from what, I mean, I'm just reading this very quickly, but it looks like they don't have them.
Well, but I mean, everybody could have the password, I think.
Everybody could have the password, that's the only
Right, but there seems like an inherent problem with potential, weirdness with that. If all 7 of us or 8 of us had the password for that, seems like you could start to, could go weird there, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing I like about the hashtag over the one account is that if people get into this, it makes it a lot more open for someone to, read their first tweet and find something and share it out, even if they're not part of.
Right.
Right. And then it isn't on one person. It's
Yeah.
even if it falls to Dan or someone to sort of monitor and make sure no one writes, this is bullshit. Hashtag, Falmouth Tech, I think the dangers are minimal that way, assuming the hashtag isn't something so totally obvious that would fall under some other random tweet.
Well, I just checked. Hashtag FoundTech is not taken.
But it's not really Falmouth Tech. It's more. Is it?
Falmouth Professional Development, Falmouth PD, something.
Yeah.
PD is probably wrong too, though.
I know. SAD 75 uses an abbreviated version of teaching and learning, but it's kind of weird because it's so abbreviated. Because somebody was saying, I can't remember. I think it was I can't remember that if the name is too long, it's taking up part of your 140 characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So Dan, you have a suggestion for what that could be?
For the hashtag?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I would say if we're gonna do that, we could table it, and I could find a good hashtag sometime, and then we can sort of get it together during another hangout. Although I don't think there'd be much else to do. I was just thinking, how nice it would be just to. I read an article last night about stressing the importance of teaching our kids how to do social media, appropriately and so on. And I could share that with everybody that way. I mean, I could certainly send an email to everybody, but I just sort of like the idea of doing it this way, just to model it. But is there any other thoughts of other ways to go besides doing the hashtag? I mean, not Twitter style, but not Twitter at all, really. We're just, jumping back out generally, mechanisms for sharing resources.
Google Groups.
How would that work?
There's a lot we could do with Google Groups or Drive that we don't do.
How would that go?
So Google Groups is a news group forum, right?
But could you make it public somehow? I mean, how do you get it out of just the group? Because that would kind of defeat the purpose.
We have groups, and they're intentionally locked down to not let the public see. You can make groups completely public.
How do you post to a group?
The easiest way. So just so you know, all of our all-staff emails are all groups.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Right.
I kind of knew that.
And you can go look at them online and see them in their entirety.
How do you do that?
As long as you're in the group.
So if you go to your Gmail, and then go, the little, the grid thingy that gives you all the other options, and click on groups. At that point, you should see the groups you're part of.
Okay. All staff, Falmouth staff community. So this Falmouth staff community, this is a group for Falmouth staff to share information. So.
But I don't know.
Well, I prefer the Twitter for just like the, hey, here's something I found. I guess I was thinking of Google for more, like I have all my American history folders, things shared across, I guess a place for those more specific sort of file sharing rather than this is a cool website I found.
So what's Nate, I'm trying to figure out the purpose of the all staff emails also being part of these groups.
That's how the emails work, right? So one tiny thing that a group does is you can set it up so that members automatically get an email from it. And what most staff don't know is you can actually go in there and turn off those emails. Right, so it can be an opt-in system as well as what we created as an auto you get in there. But you can allow people to opt in.
But it's really just, I've been part of Google groups before, like not at school, but another Google group. And basically what we used it for is to get messages out to the people in the group, which is great, but it worked well for what we were using it for. But it also, I guess we could have turned it off, but we communicated pretty much. It generated an email, and that's how we knew that somebody had posted. So it was still pretty much felt like email to me.
Yes.
So Nate, how do you post to it again?
There are two ways. One, you can just send an email to the group and it posts there.
Okay.
Right, and that's how
Right.
most of us use the all staff.
Right.
But you can actually log into the group and start posting directly from there,
And then people would get that as an email as well.
depending on how they've set up how to receive notification that something.
Notifications.
So
Right.
so every email that's sent to FHS-staff is also here in this group.
Correct.
Okay. See, I had assumed that the FHS staff thing was just a like contact list.
No.
I see.
So you can go search the history of all staff right in here.
Right, right. Well, that's what I'm seeing. So that was better to set it up that way versus it being a contact list through Gmail.
Yes, this is much easier to run.
Okay. This is clearly a feature we're underutilizing.
Yep.
Like, we're not doing this now, but like one of the things we've talked about is having like a place where you can opt in, like a Falmouth community where you could opt in and people could post things completely unrelated to work.
Right.
Right, and that would be like a place where you would create something like this and you would allow people to opt in.
Kind of like we did that sale for sale thing that we had several years ago. You mean?
Yes.
Right.
Right, and you get, remember, there are advantages of both of them. The advantage of Twitter accounts for most people, just like RSS feeds, are like immediate use. You're much more likely to reach people in the like 10 minutes after you send it, but you're much more likely to get them to read it in the first 10 minutes, but you're much less likely to get them to read it in the first, like after the first 2 hours.
Right, because once that link goes anywhere towards the bottom of this list of links on that Twitter feed, people aren't going back and going through those.
Right.
True. I was thinking of blog and where everybody could post to it, but that becomes sort of a chore, I think. You know, if you have a blog that everybody can contribute to, then you could post the blog feed directly onto the web page and the same idea. But I don't know, there's something about Twitter that I like. It just seems so quick.
Well, you know, you don't have to make content. You let somebody else make the content, and you can still make your point, you know, with somebody else's work.
And it's quick. It's just it's not like you put a lot of time into it. You can get a lot of good resources quickly. And if you want to post, you post, and it just seems quick to me. When I think of, as soon as I hesitated mentioning a blog, because when I think of a blog, I think of, actually, opening it. I've got to actually compose it. Where Twitter, you just tweet. I mean, it's just so easy.
Yeah, and there's so many good articles that I read, and I think, oh, I'd love to share this with Ruth, but I don't. So.
Yeah.
So I agree. I like Twitter. I think it's fast. It's easy. I think it would be easy for a broader audience.
And I think, Dan, one thing that's really gone, even staff-wide, is the power of the RSS and Feedly or Google Alerts. Because if you're talking about having a district-wide Twitter feed where people could post stuff that they're really interested in and that's impactful for them, if everybody knows how to use RSS or Google Alerts and things are coming to me that I'm specifically looking for professionally, I think it makes it that much easier for things that I'm geared towards to be posted to Twitter.
I agree. I'm crazy about that stuff. I love it. I think there's some staff out there that if they really got into that or just tried it, they would be they would be surprised how much they like it.
Or even like the things you showed me the other day, like, is it Zeit, the app?
Oh yeah,
I mean, that's like RSS for dummies, right?
right.
Or I
It's
think some of the
very
kids,
nice.
like Flipbook, or there's some other apps out there that the kids are using that kind of do the same thing. But and I'm naive as well. I didn't know what Feedly was before you and I had that conversation in the hallway, in November.
Yeah, that's a
And
good
now I
one.
use it all the time.
Well, someday we'll have some PD again, something kind of like that, or I don't know. Do something.
And there are strengths to all of this stuff, which is why like no company has one method they're using.
Right. I think though, with the age that we're living in and the speed with which kids are picking this stuff up, and we're not, I think that we've got to find a way to get the administration to let us schedule more time for professional development for technology. Like even if it's, I don't know, you think about all the Web 2.0 tools that are out there that staff don't know about or aren't utilizing, that, like Nate said, could have really powerful effects. Even if if you just walk through the schools now and you look at the people who have been there for a while versus the newcomers that are coming out, like even, Becca, who's not necessarily a newcomer, but she's much closer to the technology education piece because it was probably part of her schooling more so than it was for, Honor Robel.
Yep.
Come on, Dan, just tear down the walls. What people are doing.
All right, man. I'll do my best. So I was kind of wondering, Patty, if you had any takeaways from the conference that you were at on Friday, besides what you did with me.
I attended a session immediately following ours by a Pearson rep. I just kind of wanted to see what the dark side is doing, and it was pretty dark. So he did a presentation about how to model the mathematical practices in a classroom, which was good. It was well done, and he didn't try to sell Pearson products till the very end. So that session was okay, and then I had some interesting conversations at lunch. But it seemed like it was predominantly elementary and middle school teachers. It was very lightly attended by high school teachers.
I thought there were a bunch of middle school teachers in ours too.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I knew.
And when I prepared it in my mind, I was picturing high school teachers, so I kind of had to change gears on the fly. So, but I thought ours went all right. I definitely probably should have used a PowerPoint. I was trying to avoid it, but it would have helped me organize my thoughts better. So if I had to do it again, even though I don't like PowerPoint, that's what I probably would have done.
Why? Why?
I don't know. I felt like it was too scattered.
No.
You don't think so?
No. Not at all.
Maybe
Not at all. I mean,
maybe I'm comparing it to the Pearson guy who followed me with his PowerPoint.
Yeah, whatever. No, you were terrific, Patty, and so Patty and I on Friday went to this math conference, and Patty was presenting on how she has students do math homework help, basically, and you did a really nice job, I thought. Especially she led them through making a video on an iPad with Educreations, which is a whiteboarding app, and that's a really hard thing to do. To lead a group of people through doing a tech task, all at once, and you were really good about it and explaining how kids had to be mindful as they went through the process. So I don't know. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I was really happy with the active participants. The body language of some of them
Yeah.
made me feel like, why are you here? If you're so bored.
No.
That guy sitting on the far left, I just could not figure out what he was doing there.
The guy sitting on the far left. Yeah, okay. You know what? I passed him off though. He was odd.
Yeah, I don't know if he
So
just was required to attend by his district, so he was.
yeah, I passed him right off, no problem.
Yeah, no, it was fun. But I have to tell the rest of you when I walked in and Dan's like a rock star. Everyone that came in the room, we're so happy to see him. I think we're pretty lucky to have gotten him at Falmouth. Everyone else wants him back.
Yeah, it's funny. I knew a few people.
How come you don't have more Twitter followers then? What's the deal?
I'm not. I don't know what I'm doing on it.
Content is king.
Yeah, I'm wearing it. So we probably won't do this again for a long time, right? Ann?
Right. We got next week we wouldn't. Then the week after that is
Easter.
April vacation. Yep. And then the next weekend is the end of that, which people are traveling. So maybe
One more time in May.
yeah, maybe the first weekend in May.
All right.
Sounds good.
I really appreciate everybody coming tonight, and I will follow up and make some kind of Twitter
Yeah.
feed and
Then we just have to figure out where we'd post it and things like that.
negotiate it with Nate.
And whether or not we make it separate. Oh, if it's for teachers, we wouldn't have to make separate ones for the different schools. Only for teachers.
Do you have any sense of how many teachers are actually on Twitter, using Twitter at Falmouth?
There's some at the elementary school. Not a lot, but there's some.
What do you guys think?
What if it were hosted right on the staff page? Like where you go to sign in for attendance, there was just a little Twitter window.
That's what I'd like.
Yeah.
Because students don't go to the staff and faculty and staff page.
Oh, that would be a tough page, though. That's awful busy. It's a very busy page. It's got a lot of stuff on it.
Yeah. Well, maybe if they redo it, that could be an idea if they decide to redo it.
I don't know. We could look at it, Dan.
Okay. All right. Well, great. Let's end it right there.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks. Again, thank you everybody for coming.
All right, good night.
Right.
Good night. See everybody tomorrow. A couple hours.
Yeah. Night. Dan?
Yeah. Stop the broadcast.
Oh.